Not that there was ever any doubt that Trump 2.0 is going to be double the amount of chaos from the first Trump debacle, but the nomination process has pretty much guaranteed that we are in for a three-ring circus government. And if by chance you've noticed that Trump's proposed cabinet is dominated by serial philanderers and sexual assault artists, then Rachel Maddow has some news for you about how this administration is going to conduct itself. Spoiler alert, you will not be surprised. Now, the whole point of creating a government that operates like a three-ring circus is pretty obvious. It makes trying to stop the Trump administration a game of whack-a-mole. Somebody is trying to take away EPA standards here, somebody is imposing religion there, cabinet members are engaged in outrageous behavior everywhere. Trying to stop it is like trying to drink through a fire hose with a straw. Because while the mainstream media seems to hem and haw about allegations, there is just no denying that Trump's choices have histories of being philanderers and sex abusers. That's hardly a surprise. Trump himself is a serial philanderer and adjudicated rapist. But Matt Gaetz, Pete Hegseth, RFK Jr., they all have a history of being sexual predators, just like the commander-in-chief. Now, to some degree, these guys are being used as Trojan horses. If they get in, fine. But if not, they serve another purpose. They hide even more damaging nominees like Kash Patel, who is quietly gaining support by meeting in secret with U.S. senators. Watch this.
I'd like to know what your sources are telling you about how Patel was able to rise above his controversies during his meetings with senators this week.
Yeah, it was a pretty smart strategy to basically hide himself behind the other controversial nominees, people like Pete Hegseth, who has continued to be in the headlines this week. And while Pete Hegseth was attracting all of this scrutiny, Kash Patel very quietly went round the members of the Senate Judiciary Committee and completed, from what we understand, 17 meetings with senators, which is quite extraordinary given, he is supposed to be one of the controversial nominees as well. And
so, part of the chaos in this nomination process is strategic, but Rachel Maddow exposes how the chaos is covering over something else, creating a White House culture of sexual exploitation. Not only are sexual predators being nominated to head up departments and agencies, but the people being recruited to work under them are being screened for their potential to be willing partners for their bosses. Watch this.
They ask you to fill out an intake form. And specifically, they ask you to disclose on this intake form to your potential new employer if these specific personality characteristics you think apply to you. Quote, I like to show off my body. Quote, I like to look at myself in the mirror. Is that one of your personality characteristics? Your potential new employer wants you to put in writing? Do these personality characteristics apply to you? Quote, I don't have that much interest in having sexual experiences with another person. Excuse me? Sorry? Again, this is from your boss, from your would-be boss, asking you these questions, asking if these so-called personality characteristics, apply to you. And these questions are being asked of you as part of you applying for a job. Another personality characteristic this application, this intake form asks you about, it asks you if you would describe yourself this way, quote, I consistently use my physical appearance to draw attention to myself. Quote, I have chronic feelings of emptiness. Quote, I love large parties. Quote, I leave a mess in my room. My room? What room? Quote, I do not enjoy going to art museums. Quote, I get upset when people don't notice how I look when I go out in public. You're applying for a job, and you're asked to declare these things, whether these are your characteristics. Here's my favorite one. Again, what your employer is asking in considering whether or not you're going to be hired, whether or not you're suited for a job. Does this personality trait apply to you? Quote, I believe in things many others don't, like having a sixth sense, clairvoyance, and telepathy. And as an adolescent, I had bizarre fantasies or preoccupations. That's all one thing. That is listed as all one personality trait per this question, this intake form. It's believing in, telepathy, so like ESP and clairvoyance, and also having bizarre adolescent fantasies and preoccupations. Those are all listed as one thing. And what do you say? You're really trying to be honest. You really want this job. It's really important to you. What do you say to your would-be employer, your would-be boss, when you're asked that one? I mean, are you allowed to say, yes, I was preoccupied as an adolescent with, wanting to paint myself blue or something, right? But no, I don't believe in ESP. Are you allowed to say that? Are you allowed to split it up? Or are you allowed to say, yes, I definitely believe in telepathy. For example, I'm controlling you with my mind right now. But no, when I was 12, I just wanted to be a fireman like everyone else. I mean, can you split it up? Are you allowed to question the question? What do you tell your would-be boss if only half of this individual trait applies? And this is the intake form that you are filling out to try to get a job. HR gets a bad rap. I know nobody likes the idea of going to HR for anything. But if you're applying for a job and your would-be boss asks you as part of the job application process, if you like to, quote, show off your body, if your would-be boss asks you how interested you are in sex, and this would-be boss wants you to put the answer in writing and submit it to the company, call HR, right? I mean, nobody wants to, but honestly, call HR. Maybe call the cops. I mean, definitely don't take that job. But that I just showed you, the Trump transition has now confirmed that is the questionnaire that is being administered to people who want to work for the U.S. government in the second term of Donald J. Trump.
Any private company would be successfully sued if they tried to administer this survey. Questions about people's attitudes toward their bodies and their desire to showcase their bodies, that's screening for people with high potential for sexual liaison. And really, this is nothing new. Republicans have never been interested in governing. They just want to hold and exercise power. So while they are busy not governing, they want to work in an environment where they can exercise sexual power over their employees. This is the party of family values. And it does not matter how many rapists, adulterers, or child predators they have in their ranks. They never have to own up to the fact that this party never, ever practices family values. Reporting on your porn intake does not count, Mike Johnson. This party just uses that concept as a cudgel to marginalize people. Exploitation and marginalization, those are the real family values of the Republican Party. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.